The other technique that is so important to master, because it's like the soul of the note, is your vibrato, and the best use of vibrato. So there's a plethora of different ways to use vibrato. It's the conventional rock and roll vibrato it's like up, down, up, down, up, down. But still, the intonation of the right note, a lot of times people go, so they're not vibrating this note, they're vibrating that note. And one of the ways to get around that is to make sure that you go down a little and up a little. That's one way to do it. Another vibrato that people use is more the classical type, which is kind of interesting because you're pulling and pushing on the string, so it actually goes flat a little bit. The vibrato I use is more like a circular vibrato. It's a mixture between the two. Because the intonation is going to be there, because I'm going around the note, and also it gets a little flat. So I get a little flat, sharp, flat, sharp. Okay, so practicing vibrato. Now, I'll be using my type of vibrato. It's very important to have great control over your vibrato. So I would practice all the different varieties, and some of the parameters of vibrato are things like the depth. You get that Zakk Wylde kind of, you know, he's vibrating a G, there's an A in there someplace, you know? But so now this is the width of the vibrato. That's kind of hard to do, to go from smooth and then you've got to get that down with every finger. And then having control of the speed of your vibrato is like a delicious thing, you know? But it takes practice. And you have to be able to, it's more of a state of mind than it's a control of the muscles. You know, that the muscles will react based on your state with it. So you've got slow and shallow, slow and wide. So there's slow vibrato. And then there's, you know, how fast can you, and how wide and how fast and how slow and how fast and all these things. And it's also important to practice your vibrato on every area of the neck, because, so like when I do vibrato on the B or the E string, I can't really do my circular vibrato as well because I can't pull off, you know. And then this frets being as small as they are here. And vibrato is what makes the notes sing, especially up high, you know. And then you practice stretching notes and adding vibrato. And you practice different speeds and different widths. So you see where I'm going with this. Yeah. Use your imagination. And then what happens is, if you focus on those, they naturally come out in your playing based on the intention of the melody. Right. So like if you watch the different vibratos I do just noodling around. course, there's a vibrato bar, which I've made a career abusing. And even the way you use that, you know, you experiment with different things. So if I'm going to focus on using the vibrato bar, the vibrato is going to sound much different. Like I can go, you know. And that's a lot different than. Or both. It's sort of like. You practice all that kind of different in-between stuff. Well, the vibrato bar is almost like it adds a whole dimension to the instrument. And there's so much you can do with it. Anything you do with it is fine. You know, if your idea is just. For a lot of people, that's it. But I always found that I wanted to do as much as I can. I mean, there's so much that you can do. That's another whole class. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But ultimately, what you're looking for is ease of control, flowing without thinking, and just nice intonation, nice tone. And those simple techniques are very helpful. So I would just sit and practice making melodies like that. So now I didn't get that right. That's okay. Now I know what I want it to be. I want it to be. So at first you might do something like that and it might be a total mess, but you got to reach out past your ability sometimes a little bit, and then, okay, now there's an idea, so I'll. And whenever you can't get something, make an exercise out of it. You know, and then it'll just come easy next time. So that's kind of a cool. And it always needs to sound musical somehow.